Chapter 7. Let's get started. The place to start first is to become mindful or conscious of what you are feeling, what you're thinking, what you're saying, and what you're doing. The minute you awaken in the morning, access your first feeling and your first thought. That first feeling or thought of the day commonly sets the stage and the tone for the rest of the day. So if that first feeling or thought is not to your liking, the choice is yours. Right then and there is the best time to change it, with feelings and thoughts that are to your liking. Become aware of any incident, comment, situation, or person that triggers in you some kind of discomfort response. When you feel something you don't enjoy feeling, or think something you don't enjoy thinking. For instance, you're stopped at a stoplight. When it's red, it turns green, but the person in front of you fails to see the green light and doesn't move forward. Do you impatiently honk your horn, get mad, or upset, and calling that person all kinds of names? At the very moment this happens, what are you feeling? What feelings are generated in the following situations? 1. Your neighbor down the street drives by in the brand new car that you would give anything to be able to own, but can't afford. 2. Standing in a long line at the supermarket, movie, bank, or restaurant. Someone comes and breaks into the line. 3. The group of friends that you associate with attend some activity and don't include you. 4. Someone makes a cutting remark about your abilities or your looks. 5. Someone else takes the credit for one of your original ideas. How do these situations cause you to feel? As we sharpen our awareness, we gather strong clues from the little daily incidents in our lives that will help us learn to identify what we are feeling and what we are thinking. Do you become disgusted with yourself for feeling a particular way whenever the same situation presents itself over and over again, and wish you didn't feel this way? This could be a definite indicator to you that the feeling involved with this situation is a good one to start working on and resolve. For example, between the ages of 16 and 48, I accompanied many fine musicians at various functions. Very often my name would inadvertently be left off the printed program, or I would be somehow overlooked in spite of hours of rehearsal. There could be as few as 3 on the program or as many as 50. Yet, often every participant but myself would be listed on the printed program. This caused me to feel slighted, left out, hurt, and overlooked. But what I felt most of all was, I'm not important. As you read on, you'll understand the significance of my feeling, I'm not important. This all happened before I understood the principles that I've learned and am sharing with you in this book. I didn't understand why this was a continual scenario for me. With every similar incident, I would experience hurt feelings, no matter how many times I told myself that it doesn't matter, it's okay. The important thing was that you did a good job. I thought of everything I could talk myself out of the hurt feelings. And each time it happened, I would tell myself, next time I won't allow it to bother me. Even so, the next time the experience was repeated, those same feelings would hit me in the face. In any situation, become conscious of what you're feeling, of what you're thinking, and whether it is comfortable or not. Be conscious of yourself and what you're experiencing in the moment. We all go through peaks and valleys with our feelings and emotions. Be aware of the peaks as well as the valleys, and learn to recognize where the difference begins. When you can identify where the shifts occur, soon enough and often enough, the valleys won't be so low, and your in-betweens, when you feel peace, will be of longer duration until you finally enjoy smooth sailing. All too often, our conditioning has been to turn our feelings and emotions off. Social restrictions often made it inappropriate to say what we truly felt or thought. Rather than learning how to appropriately address our true feelings and emotions, we were led to believe that if we turned them off, somehow we wouldn't hurt inside. Instead, we have paid a high price by supposedly turning them off, by always conforming. The price was that we lost touch with our true feelings. If and when we get back in touch with those feelings, when we face them head on, our growth and progress will be much better served. In order to remedy the negative effects any feelings and emotions have had in our lives, it is necessary for us to take responsibility for them and become accountable to ourselves for them. If we continue to deny feelings as they happen and refuse to be accountable for them, there's no growth. And even though we may deny our feelings, we can't sweep them under the rug. They don't go away, and they won't go away. To deny feelings doesn't mean that they're dead or no longer exist. That the energies of those feelings are no longer present in your energy field. On the contrary, if feelings are not resolved, their energy remains stored inside of you, and like yeast, this energy continues growing and expanding, gathering more and more energy, resonating and joining forces with all similar feeling vibrations that are still inside your energy field. These energies create blocks, like a dam in a ditch of water, and short-circuit your system in more ways than you can imagine. If the feelings remain unresolved, this process continues to compound, and you could be experiencing any number of disturbing effects. When you recognize these disturbing effects, be aware that alterations are now in order. As I stated earlier, these unresolved feeling vibrations can never be considered dead and buried, because they are energies that are still alive, resonating at some level, and these feelings will manifest themselves somewhere, sometime. Their vibrations are ongoing. How liberating it is to know that any negative ongoing vibrations that you're storing inside of you can be transformed into permanent, positive, healing energy vibrations. Since energy matter is indestructible, but possible to change, so likewise feelings, which are energy matter, are possible to change. You can change their vibration from negative to positive. These negative feelings can be permanently resolved. It is an exciting, fun, therapeutic, healing, and rewarding endeavor, an endeavor which enables a person to tap the yet dormant, unrealized, and full potential that is within him. How do you accomplish this resolution? Well, when you tune into your feelings and recognize what you're feeling, you're ready to use the tool, dialogue, the script, as I call it, that transforms those feelings. This dialogue has helped me and many others come to a better understanding of ourselves, as well as those around us. It works most effectively when you use it during or after every situation in which you find yourself experiencing negative feelings. In order to fill a container with new material, first you must eliminate the old garbage. In other words, to replace the negative with the positive. It's first necessary to identify and process the negative, so a resolution is possible, even though it takes time and effort to accomplish your desired goals. When you're ready for changes in your life, you'll be motivated to make a commitment to yourself and apply yourself to achieving an inner healing. Just remember, what's going on inside of you didn't happen overnight. It's unrealistic to expect the impact of years of negative feelings to just disappear overnight. Where did this script come from? At the perfect time in my life, I was introduced to Caroline Livert, who is a hypnotherapist. After using hypnotherapy for a period of time in her practice, She came to realize and understand that a person does not really have to be hypnotized in order to trace back an emotional problem. She also realized that our intelligence, spirit, higher self, subconscious, remembers or knows everything that concerns us as individuals. Little by little, this script evolved for her. As she used it in her practice, more and more of her clients were able to process and change the negative feelings to positive feelings by themselves at any time. They became responsible, accountable individuals who no longer needed to lean on her. That's the beautiful part about the script. You can do it all by yourself. Once you have the understanding, you don't have to depend on anyone else to help you. This gives you true freedom. Your personal strength and direction can then develop from the inside. And that's where you want strength and direction to come from, inside. A great ecclesiastic leader once said words to this effect: God works on a person from the inside out. The world works on a person from the outside in. The world would take people out of the slums, but God takes the slums out of people, and then they take themselves out of the slums. The world would mold men by changing their environment. God changes men who change their environment. Using the script as a processing tool enables you to know and understand yourself better. It can literally take the slums out of you, and then you can change your environment. Another beautiful aspect of this process is that you do not have to remember or recall where or when the feeling started, because your spirit, intelligence, subconscious knows. Can it be that simple? My husband continues asking that question because it's hard for him to believe it's simply that simple, and yet the results are so unquestionably astounding. This dialogue or script has become a powerful tool for many people. We've been able to significantly change the negative feelings that we believed were dead and buried. Those feelings that choked, smothered, and stifled our progress in many areas of our lives or caused health problems. This process of changing the vibrations in our energy field has been an exciting, marvelous schooling and journey. In my counseling, it's been extremely gratifying to see many lives literally transformed through the use of this powerful process. Using the script has continued to exceptional mine and others' emotional growth and development. It has assisted in restoring health and healing relationships, and in establishing or reestablishing financial success. The script has helped women who have experienced sexual abuse in their youth gain a peace of mind they heretofore had never known. It has been credited for keeping several people from committing suicide. The script has assisted people in removing the beliefs that blocked them and kept them from attaining their goals. They're now moving forward and achieving their goals. It has helped bring forgiveness, love, joy, and happiness to those who have made it a part of their daily routine. I know that with your consistent application of the script, you too will be able to realize the results you're seeking. Let me explain the actual vernacular of the script. There is an aspect of our being that remembers and knows everything about us that there is to know. This part of us has forgotten nothing. Some people would call this aspect of us intelligence. Others may call it higher self, or we may refer to it as superconscious or our spirit. I choose to call this aspect of my being spirit. So when I say spirit, this refers to my spirit, no one else's. When I'm using it for me, and when you use it for you, you say spirit, you're referring to your spirit, no one else's. My soul is comprised of my spirit and my body. Having been schooled by my senses from birth, my human nature is to listen to the needs and the wants of my body. So naturally, the desires of my body seem to receive the most attention, thereby governing my actions and my existence. Because of this, my spirit is often neglected, much to the detriment of both my body and my spirit. My desire is to function as a whole being, to be at peace in my body and in my spirit, in my soul. In order to do this, my body cannot be in charge and allowed to overrule my spirit. Both body and spirit need to be balanced, to be in harmony. Because of my human condition, my nature and unruly will, my self-will, most of my life I have allowed my body to call the shots. But I experienced too much inner conflict and frustration, functioning from the body being the master. Life was not bringing me the peace and joy that I knew was possible. I definitely wanted to correct this. So upon learning about the script, I decided to become aware, conscious and mindful of my feelings, thoughts and words, so that I could correct this disharmony, the conflict, the war that was going on between my body and my spirit, that was causing fragmentation in my soul. As I recognize what I'm thinking or feeling that is bringing me any disharmony, I go through the script stating that thought or feeling. I give my spirit instructions to correct the erroneous programming that is the cause of my discomfort. Dr. Deepak Chopra indicates in his book Perfect Health that the cell's memory of perfection contained in the DNA cannot be lost. It is only covered over, at which point the perfect blueprint of the cell is distorted. It is distorted by incorrect perceptions and erroneous programming, which alter the perfect blueprint, and in turn distort the cells. When I address my spirit, I'm talking to and instructing no one except my higher self, my intelligence, my spirit. My spirit in turn goes to the feeling that it has covered the memory of perfection in the DNA. Knocks on the door, tells the feeling that answers the door that she, my spirit, has been requested by her body to make some corrections, to clean house, to uncover the memory of perfection contained in the cell's original blueprint, to eliminate the distortion and to restore the cell's perfect function by reprogramming them, to bring harmony and balance back to the DNA and RNA. When I do this, I'm being responsible for myself. I'm becoming accountable for what I think and feel. I am facilitating my own shift, my own transformation, uncovering the memory of perfection in the cells throughout my body. The cells then can begin functioning as they were designed to function. The cells can realign themselves to become balanced and more in tune with universal laws, with God's laws. If you choose to use the word intelligence, subconscious, or higher self instead of spirit in addressing this all-knowing aspect of yourself, the same principles will apply and the script still works effectively. Please do not allow any words contained within the script to trigger discomfort in you. No offense is meant to anyone. Processing feelings with the script. Spirit, superconscious. Please locate the origin of my feeling thought of blank. Take each and every level, layer, area, and aspect of my being to this origin. Analyze and resolve it perfectly with God's truth. Come forward in time, healing every incident based upon the foundation of the first, according to God's will, until I'm at the present, filled with light and truth, God's peace and love, forgiveness for myself and my incorrect perceptions, forgiveness of every person, place, circumstance, and event which contributed to this feeling thought. With total forgiveness and unconditional love, I delete the old from my DNA. Release it and let it go now. I feel blank. Replace the old negative feelings with an appropriate positive feelings. I allow every physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual problem and inappropriate behavior based on the old feelings to quickly disappear. It isn't necessary, but I like to add that last part. I also like to do the whole script in the name of Jesus. Thank you, Spirit, for coming to my aid and helping me attain the full measure of my creation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you and praise God, from whom all blessings flow. A list of negative feelings and their positive opposites are included in this book in Chapter 17. You will also find an in-depth section on health problems and their probable emotional causes in Chapter 18. If you have a health consideration you'd like to work through with the script, see the probable feelings that are indicated under the health condition, which is the negative aspect of your problem. Then replace those feelings with appropriate positive opposite feelings. Sometimes your positive replacements may be very short, 1 or 2 words. At other times the replacement may be very long, depending on what you feel is appropriate at the time. It will vary according to the circumstances. The more you use the script, the more readily the replacement words and feelings will come to you as you process. If you can't think of anything with which to replace the negative, you will always be very effective replacing it with forgiveness and unconditional love. In fact, I always include forgiveness after God's peace and love. Forgiveness opens the door for every kind of healing. Each time you go through the script, however, be sure to say light and truth and God's peace and love where indicated. I believe that most of humankind, regardless of religious affiliation, desires to feel and experience peace and love in their hearts and lives. Using the script is an appropriate way to accomplish this desire, because each time we process through it, we're replacing the negative vibrations with the positive vibrations of light and truth and God's peace and love, as well as whatever else we want to say or use. And those powerful vibrations become stronger and stronger, compounded with continual and consistent use. 2 reasons this script is so powerful are, number 1, you're uncovering the memory of perfection in your DNA, which allows you to function more completely from your true self. And number 2, you become single-minded, bringing your thinking and your feeling together, thus integrating the mind and causing it to work as a whole unit. When you're single-minded, life works for you. The emotional healing that occurred within me took place in spite of my lack of understanding of these principles. It was marvelous and exciting beyond description. The fact that a person's vibrations change each time one processes through the script has been scientifically indicated, similar to the scientist's observation of the dying woman in Chapter 2, through subtle energy instrumentation called a biofield spectrum analyzer. So how do you get started? In my counseling, I have found that practically everyone on a subconscious level does not love themselves. They do not accept themselves nor trust themselves. Most of these same people don't even like themselves. Interestingly enough, they all think they like, love, and accept and trust themselves. But subconsciously, they do not feel it. Experience has shown that when using the script, you can proceed much faster in all areas when healing or changing these negative feelings. If you first process and resolve A, why I don't like myself, B, why I don't love myself, C, why I don't accept myself, and D, why I don't trust myself. So the first thing I would have to do is find a comfortable, quiet place where you can sit, relax, and close your eyes. Take a deep breath through your nose and let it out slowly through your mouth. Take another deep breath the same way, only this time hold your breath at the top of the full inhalation for 3 counts. Then let it out slowly through your mouth. This accesses both sides of the brain. So now you're ready to begin. The following is what I would say: Spirit, intelligence, superconscious, however you choose to address it. Please locate the origin of the feelings that keep me from liking and loving myself. Take each and every level, area, and aspect of my being to these origins, analyze and resolve it and them perfectly. God's truth. Come forward in time, healing every incident based upon the origin, according to God's will, until I'm at the present, filled with light and truth, God's peace and love, forgiveness of myself for my incorrect perceptions, forgiveness for every person, place, circumstance, and event which contributed to these feelings, with total forgiveness and unconditional love. I delete the old. I release it now, and I let it go now, permanently. I like myself. I feel love for myself. I give myself permission to like and love myself. I feel worthy of this love. I allow every physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual problem and inappropriate behavior based on the old feelings to quickly disappear. Thank you, Spirit, for coming to my aid and helping me attain the full measure of my creation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you and praise God, from whom all blessings flow. After you finish the above, then repeat the script for C, why I don't accept myself, and D, why I don't trust myself. This time saying, Spirit, please locate the origin of the feelings that keep me from accepting myself and trusting myself. Continue on through the script until you come to the next blank line, replacing the negative words with this effect: I accept myself unconditionally. I feel faith in myself and I trust myself implicitly. I am my own best friend. Then finish the rest of the script. It is essential that you mean what you say and say what you mean when you replace the negative with the positive, for the effectiveness of your processing will be in direct proportion to the sincerity and intent of your heart. Another disturbing condition I've found with many people is that they have been subconsciously programmed for failure. If this is so for you, unless you change it, your programming will continue to sabotage you and your progress will be impeded. So you may want to go through the script on this one too. The following is how I would process to reprogram failure. Spirit, please locate the origin of the feelings that cause me to continually fail. I would continue through the rest of the script until I came to the next blank line, and I would then replace to continually fail with I can succeed. I now allow myself to succeed. I give myself permission to succeed. I reprogram myself to succeed. I can succeed in all my endeavors. I am successful. Then I would finish it out with the balance of the script. This does not necessarily mean that all of a sudden you're going to go out and succeed in everything you do. It is still necessary to observe and adhere to correct principles in your thinking and feelings in order to succeed. However, reprogramming yourself to succeed opens up the channels to help eliminate the saboteurs which have been keeping you from meeting your desired goals. Be aware that you may also have other specific negative feelings you need to address where success is concerned. When you're programmed to fail, it's like you have a brick wall standing in your way. Each brick of the wall represents a feeling that has contributed to validating your failure or lack of success. In order to move ahead in all areas of your life, after you've changed the master program from failure to one of success, it's necessary to disassemble that wall, brick by brick, feeling by feeling. You do this by taking each of your negative feelings, encompassing the area of success one or several at a time, and process them through the script so that you can change them to positive feelings. Processing further in depth contributes to a subsequent total shift of energies that will eventually produce the results you're seeking in that area of your life. Imagine yourself as a computer. The master program is the memory of perfection in your DNA and could be considered the hardware. The script, in this instance, is the software that you're using to change the negative programs to positive programs. Uncovering the memory of perfection in your DNA enables the computer to function in the most productive and desirable manner. As you begin processing your feelings, you may want to be more selective in choosing other influences that you bring into your life. While striving to change the negativity to positivity in your energy field, continually feed your mind positive information. View worthwhile TV. Watch uplifting movies. Be more particular about the thoughts you choose and the words you speak. Associate with positive people. Listen to music with positive messages. In other words, create a more optimal environment for positive change. Be certain to always replace the negative feelings with appropriate positive ones. If there's a void or vacuum left where you have removed the negative feelings, more of the same can come back, multiplied, unless the void is filled with something positive. You can always pick up negativity from others around you if you leave a void. Remember, what you're doing is changing the programming. If the instructions to your spirit are not specific and complete, the energy of the negative could be left in limbo, hanging and unresolved, and completion may not be realized. After you have processed and resolved with the script the initial feelings of like, love, acceptance, trust of self, and program for failure, then continue on your transformational road. Number 1. Recognize your uncomfortable feelings the minute you feel them, if you're able to. Take out your script and state the negative feeling at the beginning. Then change them to positive feelings at the appropriate place. Do this as many times a day as needed. If you're unable to resolve the feelings right at the moment they happen, make a mental or written note of them so you won't forget what the feelings are. At an appropriate time later in the day, process the feelings that you were unable to address earlier with the script, changing the negative to appropriate positive feelings. Number 3. Do a mental sweeping each night before you go to sleep. Think back over your day and remember negative incidents that caused you any hurt, pain, or discomfort. Address and resolve them by taking them through the script. Process as many unresolved feelings as possible at this time. You may have quite a few to process by the time you go to bed. Nevertheless, your spirit intelligence works on them very efficiently and effectively during the night. Keep in mind that no matter when you're able to change the negative feelings to the positive, it will work. Number 6. Memorize the script as soon as possible, so it is immediately available to you when you need it. 7. Say the script out loud or silently. Either way works. Ideally, a quiet place where you can be alone and are able to relax is the best. But if that's not possible, do whatever is next best for you. After the script is memorized, you will find that you can go through it very quickly wherever you are. One of the appealing things about the script is that there are no limitations on ways to use it. A very healing and effective approach you may want to incorporate when dealing with your feelings toward other people is to write out all the negative feelings that you have ever felt toward each member of your family. You may be surprised at what will come to mind. Then do the same thing where other people are concerned. After you've listed these negative feelings, take the feelings for each person one at a time and go through the script, replacing the negative with total forgiveness, unconditional love, and any other appropriate opposite positive feelings. For example, if you've listed resentment as a negative feeling towards your brother Jerry, please locate the origin of the resentment I feel towards my brother Jerry, or the origin of why it ticks me off, the way he always has to be right. Where the first blank line in the script appears, just state that sentence. State it exactly the way it came to your mind. Then replace it on the second blank line with something like, I release all past resentments toward him. He's only reacting to a lack within himself. Understand. I love him and forgive him. Or whatever comes to your mind. As was mentioned before, there is a list of negative feelings in Chapter 17 to assist you in identifying what you're feeling, and their appropriate opposite positive feelings to use to replace the negative. After you've worked through many of your feelings, sometimes you may come to an impasse where you simply don't know what it is you're feeling. At this point, state it as such. Spirit, please locate the origin of the feeling that I'm feeling that is so uncomfortable. Your spirit superconscious intelligence will know what it is and will take care of it for you. Be prepared for a rewarding ongoing process, because changing and eliminating layers of negative feelings does not happen overnight. Remember, you didn't acquire them overnight, so they're not going to just disappear overnight. Also keep in mind that you were born with some of those feelings or vibrations, in which case they have been there for a long time. They came with you in your genes at a cellular level, in the DNA. Sometimes these feelings can be a bit stubborn and don't release readily their hold on you. Nevertheless, you can accomplish what you desire to accomplish, if you're committed to resolving those old, useless, and sick feelings. When you have made progress in processing your negative feelings with the script, do your best to keep from slipping back into the old deep grooves, the ones that became worn out from so much use, undermining your self-worth and self-esteem, or creating a demon out of you. If you find you're slipping back, focus on the feelings that you wish to eliminate and process them through the script, replacing them with appropriate positive feelings to resolve them. After I'd been using the script for about 4 months, I began experiencing a feeling inside of myself that was very disturbing, but I could not put my finger on what I was feeling. I just knew that emotionally I hurt inside, at my very core. Doing my best to identify what I was feeling I kept asking myself the question, what is it? What am I feeling? And I did this for about 3 days. Then, as I was reclined on my slant board after exercising one morning, I was just being with the feeling and asking, what is it? What is it? All of a sudden the words came to me loud and clear. You're not important. Immediately the impact of that feeling enveloped me, and without even thinking about it, I started crying. At the same moment, I instantly and automatically drew up into the fetal position. As these words were ringing in my ears, I witnessed the circumstances of my birth in my mind's eye, and felt the feelings that occurred during these first historical moments of my life. My mother and I were alone during that event, with the exception of the hospital personnel. There was no one else from the family present to herald my entrance to the earth. The absence of family members, especially my father, who was unable to be there, had told me, in effect, that I wasn't important. Not important enough for anyone to be there waiting my arrival. As the flood of feelings from my birth experience came rushing and gushing forward, I cried and cried. I couldn't stop for a long time. The hurt was so deep. After this experience, I began to understand why I set things up throughout my life to happen to me the way they did. For instance, when my name was omitted from programs, subconsciously, I felt I always had to validate this belief that I'm not important. In my social life, in opportunities of leadership, in my professional life, with my family, etc., I was sabotaging myself continually, not allowing myself to feel successful or important, regardless of my ability to achieve in all these areas. The knowledge and awareness that came from this experience was realizing in those first few moments that Mom and I were alone. In my heart, I automatically concluded that I wasn't important, because no one was there to welcome my arrival. I felt the feeling incorrect perception of abandonment, not only for myself, but for what I thought my mother must have been going through. I felt sorry for her, wanting to soothe Mother's pain and make everything better or all right for her. I decided that I could be important by being her champion, her protector, so that she would never have to experience this loneliness again. The feelings that were going on inside of me caused me to perceive and say to myself, "Well, Mom, it's just you and me against the world. I'll protect you, I'll take care of you, and see that you're happy. It's my job to make this up to you." And so I carried that responsibility on my shoulders for over 48 years. I'm so grateful that a resolution of these incorrect perceptions and feelings were available for me through using the script. Many times I wondered if going through the script all the time was worth it. But when a specific incident happens now that used to bother me, and I recognize that I'm not affected or bothered by it in the least anymore, I know how valuable that persistence was and continues to be. Let me give you another example. I don't think anything made me more angry than being awakened from a sound sleep by someone or something. So when this happened, I could never get back to sleep. It just infuriated me if the phone rang before I was awake, or if the toilet flushed and woke me up, or if someone was making too much noise either in the house or outside of the house. When our children were growing up, their bathroom bordered our bedroom, so we trained them to not flush the toilet in the middle of the night so we wouldn't be awakened. Once, while staying in a motel with some friends and our 5 children combined in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, someone was having a loud party close by. It was very late at night, and we were all quite tired from traveling. The noise from the party woke most of us, and kept us awake. Much to the surprise of my friends and my children, I put my robe on, went to the room where the party was going on, knocked on the door, and asked them if they realized that other people may be trying to sleep. Usually I wasn't that nervy, yet it was a real phobia for me. Sounds ridiculous? Well, at the time it didn't seem so to me. For some reason I was very possessive of my sleep. When I started using the script to release that feeling of anger when I was awakened abruptly, guess what? It no longer bothered me. It's so wonderful to feel peaceful and calm whenever I'm awakened from a deep sleep at what I consider an inappropriate time now. Using the script accommodates several significant things. As I've mentioned, it brings us to single-mindedness. It returns the cells to their perfect blueprint. When correct positive information replaces the negative, it brings us back into alignment and balance with the laws of the universe. It changes and raises our vibrations, which brings us closer to our source, to our place of comfort and peace. It eliminates the conflict between body and spirit, which then allows our soul to be at peace and in charge. It creates a more favorable environment for physical, emotional, spiritual, social, and mental healing. The script is literally a vehicle for self-transformation. The script assists us in changing our heart and in becoming more forgiving, loving, compassionate, merciful, and accepting.